Welcome back, students, and congratulations on making it through week 3. I am so proud of each of you. I know you've been working really hard. I know that we move really quickly in this course because we take that 16 weeks down to 6 weeks. So thank you for hanging in there. After this week, you will be halfway done. Now, the other really cool thing about my course is that it's not cumulative. So once you've done these 3 weeks and you've done the exam for this 3 weeks, then we move on. Okay, then it's almost like starting not a whole nother course, right? But a whole nother 3 weeks, and then you'll just be graded and examined over that material. So you're almost there. Get through this week and knock out your exam, and you'll be doing great. So I am also really enjoying reading what careers you want to go into and how these link with anthropology from your writing assignments. So thank you so much for taking the time to do research on these as well. I'm hoping that you're finding that cultural anthropology and anthropology in general, the concepts that really form this discipline can be applied across really about any discipline, right? The different philosophies that we have, the different ways that we take that bottom-up approach toward engaging with human beings is so critical to the workplace and to disciplines. So thank you for diving into that. But let's talk about week 3. So let's go to your course. I'm going to share my screen. This week, you've been busy. You have knocked out 3 chapters, okay, on gender and sexuality, on family and marriage, and on religion, okay? Now, I want you to take away kind of these main big points, these main takeaways, and that's why these PowerPoints have been put together for you. And so I take what you've had in the reading, and I really distilled this for you to kind of have as a reading companion. And so I really hope that you've been going through all of those. It really helps define terms like the gender and sexuality chapter, heteronormativity, and things like that. These words that you may have heard, but it's like, what do they actually mean on the ground? Okay. And then I love your textbook because it also brings like real world examples of things that impact us today. It's a very up-to-date textbook. That's why I wanted to use it, also because it was free for you all. But anyways, there's really great information in your textbook and in these PowerPoints. So I hope that you're using those. I also hope that you really enjoyed the gender Radio Lab. I love Radio Lab. I love this episode, kind of like mind-blowing type stuff, right? But also it really gets at people's perspectives and individual perspectives. So make sure that you have listened to that before your exam. Okay, so basically the main takeaway from your gender and sexuality is that these are 2 separate things, okay? You will be asked about this. Sex is what you are biologically born with. And then the other wonderful thing is that I remember teaching a 300-person class at the University of Georgia, and literally 30% of people don't have the typical what we would say typical chromosomes, right? And they wouldn't even maybe know this. And so, so things that we may judge others on, it doesn't even make sense because we may not even know that we're born with an extra chromosome or something like this, right? And so there are lots of different sexes, anyways, right? So, anyways, that's something I'll get off my soapbox there. But then gender is what we are born with, how then it's culturally reinforced and the behaviors that are reinforced with that biological sex that we are born with, right? So that means if it's more male to do something or stereotypically male, then that's going to be reinforced in your culture. But again, this changes among all the different cultures for what it means to be male and what it means to be female. And it was so interesting when I had my baby this last year. I was looking up names and kind of different, colors and things like that. That's what you do, right, as new parents. Anyways, in the 1920s, and before then, the typical color for males was pink, right? And so these things culturally change all the time, and all these things are fluid. And so anyways, we'll talk a bit more through these as we get to the exam. But again, I'm hoping that you're starting to realize and have a much more nuanced understanding of these different terms and these different meanings, okay? Family and marriage, tons of takeaway from this chapter as well. Basically, what I want you to know is that it's different how different cultures, right, experience family and experience familial bonds, things like clans, and things like how people marry. Is it endogamous? Is it within a certain caste? For example, in India, that would be endogamous. Exogamous would be outside of the caste. Anyways, we'll get into more of these different terms. Polygamous, polyandrous, all of those different terms were introduced to you. And so be sure to take a look at that PowerPoint, okay? And then finally, religion. Again, just want you to kind of touch the cusp of this because let me tell you, I've taken 2 different anthropology religion courses. I have a minor in religion. People do. You can study just a fraction of religion, do your PhD in that, and still not know nearly anything about religion, right? And so, anyways, there's tons of really great points in that religion textbook and that chapter. However, what I want you to take away with is that many people believe many different things. So, for example, monotheism is the belief in one God. That may be more like Christianity based or evangelical. Polytheism is a belief of multiple gods, right? Something maybe like Hinduism. And so just want you to get, again, a more nuanced perspective of various cultures around the world. So with that, this week you have your exam that is due by Sunday. Okay. I have exactly what's going to be, like what the exam is going to look like. It's matching. Okay, that's why you do your key terms forum. You have your short answer. That's why you do your discussion forum. And then you also have multiple choice questions, okay? And you also have 90 minutes to do this, okay? So 90 minutes from start to finish, okay? Unless you have an accommodation, I have put that in for you if you need extra time, no worries at all. However, once you start, you have 90 minutes. So please do this with a place with good internet and maybe a distraction-free, I know it's hard to do, but a distraction-free environment, okay? So if you have any questions at all, just let me know on that. So now let's go to your key concept study guide. Okay. So what is it really important to take away from on your study guide, okay? So I have some different terms up here. You will be asked about sex and gender, the difference between those two, and then you will be asked to give examples, okay? Also, there are some questions about like gender stratification, okay? So what exactly does that mean? That means that maybe one gender is held up or put on a pedestal more than another. And so that stratification is evident in a lot of different cultures, right? And so you'll be wanting to have a specific example of how that occurs in your culture or one that you've been able to read in the textbook, okay? We don't get into things like patriarchy, sexual preference, or intersex as much. We do talk about things like a clan, which is basically your kind of family, your grouping. What I'm thinking about is that example from Australia in your textbook, how everyone is a part of like the crocodile clan or a different clan from a totem, right? And how you all fall within that clan, not necessarily having to be family, but that there's that link, that clan that you are all a part of, okay? These different terms are important. Polygyny is also polygamous, which means that a person who identifies as a man, marries multiple women. Polyandry, which also occurs, means when a woman marries multiple men, like in Tibet, okay? Endogamous means marrying within your group. So the best way to kind of think about that is how India has a lot of different castes, right? And how a lot of times you have to marry within your caste, caste, in order to be a part of that culture. If you marry outside of your caste, sometimes you are excommunicated, okay? So that's a very endogamous view of marriage. Exogamous view again would be outside of your typical group, of marriage. Okay, animism, cosmology, again, not as significant for you to maybe take away with, but I hope that you have enjoyed reading the different examples of where these things may come from. But again, polytheism and monotheism, these will be things that are significant to you for your exam. Be able to describe what those mean, and then also give examples from your textbook or from what you know of that shows the belief, polytheism, belief in multiple gods, and then monotheism, belief in one kind of dominant god. Okay. Reciprocity and kinship, these are significant terms as well. Reciprocity, and what I actually think of too is even America, way back in the day, there was much more of a reciprocity system, saying, if I do something for you, then you're going to reciprocate that back to me. So, for example, when you would have like a potlatch, which is a big kind of communal party to give out different items to, for example, have a fish fry or feed the community, right? And then give out gifts. These potlatches were then reciprocated across different groups. So ultimately, that's how people got by kind of back in the day, right? And so reciprocity is obviously changing a ton in our culture, and it depends on where you live and where you're from. I mean, you can go as minute as what you do in your familial unit for reciprocity, but it's definitely an interesting concept and one that people study for their entire PhD, their entire life, right? And then kinship is just who you have kin with, who you have relations with, who you accept to be in your family, who you share that bond with, right? And so these terms, if you have gone through these terms, if you understand kind of the most important ones, okay, some of these are just obviously incredibly important. If you've gone through these, you're going to do great on the matching, okay? The other thing is that we have kind of questions here, okay? Um, if you go through these and if you answer these and have a good kind of basis for them, again, you're going to do great on the exam. But again, be able to definitely describe kind of Western stereotypes of gender, difference between gender and sex, um, and then kind of be able to kind of describe different elements of religion, right? But mostly focused on the kind of those introductory terms. Again, this is just introduction to cultural anthropology. And then again, some of these questions in marriage and family, you'll be able to just briefly talk about. You can even talk about your own experiences, for example, from your family, if you have a question like that on your exam. And then the other thing, I do have questions on your exam of all the radio labs. Okay, so please go to the gym, workout, go on a walk, listen to your radio labs. They will not disappoint. They're extremely interesting. Okay, and if you all have any other resources that you'd like to share, or any other radio labs that connect with these with any of these issues that we have, feel free to share them. Feel free to post them in our discussions. And I just greatly appreciate your time and attention to cultural anthropology. As always, I'm here. I'm a super active professor. I love getting back to my students. Please email me. I would be happy to Zoom with you. I know everyone's busy, right? But I don't want you to feel like just because this is an online asynchronous course that we cannot connect and have this be more as interactive as you would like, right? So please let me know how you're doing. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and get more grading done on your writing assignments. But thanks again for your hard work on those. And I will, good luck on your exam this week. It's due again by Sunday at midnight. So thanks so much. Happy reading, happy discussing, and I will talk to you soon.